So, like many platforming heroes, Kirby has a bunch of spin-off games. Today we're going to focus on a few console and handheld spin-offs. I'm mostly just discussing spin-offs to talk about certain games that I can't get a full review on. Things like Pinball or certain sports titles or even puzzle games. This time, however, I'm going to be discussing them in order of release. And I think I'm going to go with that throughout any spin-off videos that I do like this. I'll make sure to do better this time, including saying the name of the games. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I did a spin-off video for Mario. I'm not exactly proud of that video. I rushed it, and it's not the greatest quality. Might even redo it, because holy crud. Anyway, I'll make sure to mention the year of the release and the platform the game is on as well. So, we got a decent chunk of games today. Let's get right down to it and let's do this. Let's take on Kirby Spinoffs! Round 1. And let's start with a game that isn't specifically Kirby, or directly related to Kirby at all. Okay, to be fair, this is a pinball game created by HAL Laboratory, the makers of Kirby. I'm only talking about this game because it has a spiritual successor that is indeed a Kirby game, so I figured I'd talk about this one real quick. So, Revenge of the Gator came out in 1989, originally for the Game Boy, making this a bit of a launch game, though this game didn't show up in my country until 1990. This was a simple pinball game that has some mini-games and point-racking systems. The Gator will eat the ball if the, ball gets too low. The table itself is nice and has 2 screens to it, but there are some issues. The game is buggy and the screen switching is not smooth at all and very disorienting. Fun, but easily a skippable part of the Game Boy library. But how would take the mistakes that they made here and fix them in the next pinball game they made? Ah yes, coming out the same year as Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's first true spin-off launched into the Game Boy, Kirby's Pinball Land. And it's the successor to Revenge of the Gator I mentioned earlier. Kirby has a couple of tables to choose from here and conquer, each table hosting a few obstacles Kirby has to climb over and take on a boss fight at the top of the table. Given I only sampled this game, so I only got so far on one particular table, but if you beat them all, you get to fight King Dedede, which is kind of cool. I ended up facing down the Sun and Moon bosses fights from Kirby's Dreamland, and then lost to Kracko. Kracko disables one of your flippers, making him really dangerous. 1993, and this game comes out, making Revenge of the Gator completely worthless. Given HAL has other pinball games too, leading up to this. Either way, this game is super fun. Actually, Kirby's Pinball Land is often considered one of the best Game Boy games of all time. Often in the top 20 from what I've seen. After playing it, yeah, I can agree. Shame this one isn't on the Switch as of yet. It's really fun pinball game with actual adventure done correctly. So I do highly recommend giving this one a shot if you're able to. If you like pinball. If not, then obviously this is not going to be your scene. Still, impressive and possibly one of the best spin-offs, involving pinball anyway, ever made. Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one. I saw this game advertised and it looked so unique. I always wanted to play it. It took a while for this to happen, however. It was a trip to Vegas in a specific hotel. They had a Super Nintendo which you could play for a bit of extra money. One of the games was Kirby's Dream Course, released in 1994. Well, 1995 for US and Europe. Anyway, I played this super weird, unique looking game, and it was golf. Mini golf, to be specific. Boy, I suck at golf. To be fair, this is one of the most unique golf games I've ever played personally. Your job is to smack Kirby into his enemies. It's pretty simple. When you kill all the enemies excluding one, the last enemy becomes the hole. That just sounds kind of weird saying it out loud. I can kill all the enemies very quickly, but dang, I can't get Kirby to roll into this hole worth a damn. That still sounds weird. There are copy abilities here as well. The only one I show here is Crash, but I have played on different consoles far enough to get to at least, Shock Kirby or Electric Kirby. Still, really cool that there's such a unique take on mini golf. And, yeah, this game is incredibly fun, as bad as I am at this. Beware though, this game is pretty unforgiving if you can't get into the hole with enough strokes. Basically, each stroke takes off a maximum tomato, and to get them back, you need to run into enemies or, get into the hole. Yeah, it's a bit tough, but I would still absolutely recommend this game any day of the week. Also, this was in the Super Nintendo collection. You guys know the mini SNES console that was, like, stupidly exclusive? That's where Star Fox 2 kind of, premiered finally after all these years. Yeah, Kirby's Dream Course was a part of that whole lineup of games, and frankly, it might deserve it. Moving right along, and it's time to talk about a puzzle game. Well, not as many as Mario or Yoshi or even Wario, Kirby does have a few puzzle games to his name. This one I completely missed growing up, and honestly, I'd never even heard of it until very recently. Let's see, this came out in 1995, the same year as Kirby's Dream Land 2. That's kind of cool. This game is for the Super Nintendo, and it looks oddly like a Sega Genesis game I played. Yeah, this is basically Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Huh, I never thought my first time discussing Puyo Puyo would be on the Super Nintendo. Puyo Puyo is a Tetris-adjacent puzzle game that is pretty popular in Japan, but when it came to the States, the developers thought it wouldn't go over well. They changed the anime-style characters to known characters. On the Sega Genesis, this was done by using Sonic characters from some of the cartoons. However, I thought Puyo Puyo was a Sega property, but I can see now that Sega only gained the title in the 2000s, which means there's actually some Nintendo versions. When the Super Nintendo version came here to the States, they clearly painted over it with Kirby characters. Interesting. Kirby's kind of a ass here, too. Holy crap. His dialogue, he's just kind of a jerk. Overall, this game is Puyo Puyo. If you like puzzle games, you've probably played Puyo Puyo. It's a competitive color matching game. The better the combos, the more you mess up on your opponents. That's the point of the game. Combo better than your foe and take them out. They call it having a game of Avalanche or Puyo Puyo. Look, this is a fantastic puzzle game, and it's on the Switch if you want to try it. I'm sure there's newer versions, though, just saying. Man, 1995 was such a busy year for Kirby. Although, given this didn't hit our shores until 1996, but Kirby's Block Ball came out originally in 1995. This is another spin-off. In case you couldn't tell by the title of the video here. Remember Alleyway? I mentioned it in the Mario spin-offs, but it was an arcade game originally called Breakout, but turned into a Nintendo Game Boy game with Mario cameos. Now I want you to take that concept, but turn it into a Kirby game. Not Breakout with a Kirby coat of paint or even cameos like Alleyway, but an actual Kirby-style Breakout game. That's what this is. This game even has power-ups and copy abilities, but to be honest, I didn't get that far. Still, this game is pretty beefy with levels and boss fights. This game also has more than just one paddle. Some levels have you controlling paddles on any side of the game, which is pretty good. It's still Breakout, but it's a really fun version of it. That being said, Breakout is very, very slow unless you're insanely good at it. Overall, this game also hasn't been re-released since the 3DS, so sadly you can't get a hold of this officially unless you already had it, just like Pinball Land. Still, if you have a chance, I'd give this one a shot. Easily the best version of Breakout I've played, and way better than Alleyway at the very least. What's actually more annoying for me is the fact that they put Alleyway on the Switch soon after my Mario spin-off video too, which is kind of insulting. So yeah, you can actually go play Alleyway, which is literally just Breakout but with a couple of Mario cameos, versus this game right here, Kirby Block Ball, which is just superior in every way. That's annoying. That's frustrating. Come on, Nintendo, get with it. Let's go. This next one is going to be a bunch of still images, so I'll make this quick. Couldn't get a hold of this game myself, so yeah, I'm going to talk about it, but again, still images. The Famicom, well, the Super Famicom anyway, had a hookup that connected to satellites. The Satellaview games are very hard to come by, and finding ROMs is very tricky. Kirby had a game called Kirby's Toy Box, which downloaded several minigames for you. The minigames were all stupidly simple, like there's another Breakout style game or even another pinball game. Hell, baseball was an option. Overall, this thing had 8 mini-games, and they are difficult to find online and play. I really wish Nintendo would re-release the Satellaview games one day. There's a ton of them that are really fun-looking, like a remake of Zelda 1. Let's play that, or some of the Mario stuff. Whatever. Alright, here we go. Kirby's original Tetris adjacent puzzle game, Kirby Star Stackers, released on the Game Boy around 1997. This is a fun little puzzle game stacking animals. Well, you stack animal pals from Kirby's Dream Land 2 and 3. You don't have to stack them directly though, as having Koo on one side of a bunch of star blocks, and then Koo on the other side of the bunch of star blocks, Koo will take out all the blocks in between, giving you more points. The game is pretty fun overall, but incredibly simple, which works pretty well for Kirby. Now, do I recommend this? Well, I suppose I could. It's creative and simple enough to be a fun time waster, but it's also great for baby's first Tetris as well. Alright, wrapping this up, we have, let's see, 1998 Kirby Star Stackers, but for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, it's a more colorful remake. Nothing too special here. This is the version on the Switch, though? Yeah, that's fun. This is also not on the Super Nintendo exactly. It was exclusive to Japan, so it was actually only on the Super Famicom. But it's literally the exact same game with a few extra modes. So do I recommend this one? Well, no, but yes. I wouldn't recommend this for a console experience. It's built better as a simple handheld game, similar to Tetris, Dr. Mario, or any of the other puzzle games. They're just built better for a handheld experience. They just look better on the console version. But the only official way for us here in the US to actually play this game is, ironically, on the Switch. So, since this is the only version of Star Stackers playable on modern consoles, at least officially, and since current Nintendo console is technically a handheld, I recommend it as much as the original, if not more. Look, it looks better, it's on the Switch, so it's easier to get. It's cleared out the only real issue it had of not being portable, because now it is portable. So if you have a Switch and their online system, I'd absolutely try this one out. Again, simple, but fun, creative enough to kind of keep you busy if you like puzzle games. So in closing, let's stack up the games. I recommend Kirby's Dream Course and Kirby's Pinball Land the most out of all of these games. They are easily the most fun you'll have here, and they're both unique takes on mascot pinball games, as well as mascot mini-golf games. That last genre's not really a thing. But Dream Course is also on the Switch. It's Pinball Land that's kind of harder to get. Kirby's Block Ball would come next, being a full-fledged video game, but Breakout and their clones are kind of slow in general. Still fun, but slower, which is why this is a bit of a step down. This one's not on the Switch though, so good luck actually getting a hold of it. Lastly, I'd recommend Star Stackers and Avalanche. Star Stackers is super fun, but super simple, while Avalanche is literally just Puyo Puyo for the Super Nintendo. I don't know, I'm not a fan of puzzle games, guys. They're fun, but to me, they're fun in smaller bursts, which is why I do recommend them more on portable handhelds, I suppose. Either way, dead last is Gator's Revenge. Again, technically not a Kirby game, I know, but also not super fun. Creative, but glitchy and slow, and not as fun as the other games. In super last place is Kirby's Toy Box, which I couldn't find or play, and I may change my mind if it's ever re-released. That'd be awesome, just saying. Either way, this was interesting to talk about. I did a lot better here than the Mario spin-off, learned from my mistakes. That being said, it was also a shorter video here too. Nothing wrong with mistakes, as long as you learn from them. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment. These things do actually help my channel. I'm still working on other videos, but it's been slow, and I do apologize about that. I've been sick a lot lately with sinus things, and my family's had dental issues lately. Yeah, you remember me talking about my dog who had growth on her mouth? Come to find out, it was a tooth issue. She hit it like a damn cat and barely gave off any sign that she had the issue. I would have taken care of it way sooner if I had known. Oh, jeez. But, yeah, there have been a lot of things going on in my life, and I apologize for being slow on content. I'm working on it. But I'm also learning programming now. I'm trying to mess with Unreal Engine and learn how to program, so it's been interesting. Oh well, thank you anyway, my minions. Take care.